You got to give him. It's 2024. We got to hit him with the extra vibrato. Wow.
Yes.
So the last time there was an episode of Elevate the Conversation was the last one we had together.
Okay.
I don't remember the date that came out, but basically after that, Chelsea and I decided to go on a holiday break. And I was like, you know what? No, I want to keep it going. Like, we even were going to like bring the podcast equipment to Miami so that we could like record. And it's hard.
I don't think you should have. I think you should have took that time for yourself, because then you're rejuvenated in the new year. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need a break. I know people probably think that, you microphone and scop bop bop de boop. No, man. Like, it's a lot, especially when you putting in the work, setting up, troubleshooting. That's a lot. So enjoy your vacation.
Yeah, it's people don't understand the level of. I think I say this on the show all the time, that I'm the talent, I'm the tech, I'm the edit, I'm posting social media clips, getting them ready. So there's so many parts of what I do in this podcast that it honestly felt really good to just like take a break, because it is a grind. So we had our nice little Christmas break. We went and did everything that we did, and we came back and she had to turn around and pack her bag and go right back out. So ladies and gentlemen, you're gonna get this is a twofer. This is the second time around with my best friend Wendelin E. Simmons.
I say.
Okay. I got some great feedback. My wife, she was like, "You guys are hilarious." She was like, "All y'all did was laugh that whole episode." I'm like, "That's the point." I'm like, "What do you think we're here to do?" We're here to laugh. That's what we're here to do.
Absolutely.
And it was such heavy subject matter last episode that I was happy to do that with you, because I feel like if I had done it when I talked to my wife about it on the phone, she was saying stuff that I'm so glad we did not record, because she honey, I know you're listening to this. She when she have an opinion, she have an opinion. I'll be having to censor her for
standing on business.
She's standing on big business when it comes to her opinion. So I was like, you know what? I'm so glad that we had Wendy. And so we're gonna make this a thing. We're gonna, I'm gonna have you back on the podcast at least monthly, because I feel like it brings a good energy, and we still have to talk about Milli Vanilli, but that's a whole that documentary, we both watched it, so that's a whole nother different thing. But welcome to the show, y'all. Happy New Year. I hope you're happy. I hope you're healthy. I hope you feel loved. I hope you had a good holiday. And if you didn't, we about to bust down the door. We kicking down doors in 2025. We kicking down doors in 2024.
Yes.
With that being said, what's up, everybody? My name is Joy Daniels. I'm your host with the most.
And I'm Wendy Simmons.
And
this is Elevate the Conversation.
Oh my God, that's so good.
Oh,
so the wife and I had a chance, we came back. Okay, so we went to Disney. I really like Disney. We did
We
Epcot.
don't have to talk about that, because I'm going next week and I'm not excited.
Why?
I'm just not. Like, I grew up at Six Flags.
Okay.
And, I'm just, I feel like when I was a kid, I would have been like, oh, I remember we were out in California and we were on a road trip. I want to say to Oregon or something, to see one of his aunts. And he rode past Disneyland, and I was like, why ain't we going to Disneyland? But that was me as a kid. Like, I'm not excited at all. I'm going with John and his mom and his brother's girlfriend, but I'm just like, I don't care. I'm being a hotel.
What? Don't do you?
Up where they walk, up where they run. Up where they stay all day in the sun.
So let me say this, though. Let me say this. It's Chelsea who got me because you and I are, this is why we're best friends. We're very much the same. We would be up in that dorm room with the lights off, okay? Nap time, chilling. Like that was our vibe.
Yes.
But, you know, I will say she's kind of brought the thrill to my life. She likes theme parks and she likes all those different things. And so she's kind of had me tap back into that. And so we did Epcot. Where are you guys doing? Which park are you doing?
I have no idea. I think they want to go to Epcot one night. Maybe Epcot is the first night. I don't know. I really
Okay, well,
don't.
let me tell you,
I'm
Epcot was so fun.
Okay.
The food is good.
Okay.
The rides are great, you know, and I'm not really a roller coaster or a ride person, but I had a wonderful time. My wife and I got to, you know, you go all around the world because in Epcot they have the different countries. So she was like having a drink and in every different place, and I was eating the food. It was, I mean, honestly, it's a fun time. I want you to at least try to just try, because it really it's the type of thing where I feel like you expect yourself. You're like, this is a lot of walking.
I got some new shoes.
No,
First
no,
time I've ever
listen,
spent a dime on a shoe.
I went and got Crocs when we first started doing the whole situation. I was like, all right, let me go get some Crocs, because like this, you know what I'm saying? Like this is what it's going to be. But you will open your mind to it. You will have a good time.
You know, I bleed Disney, so alone.
Exactly. And the shows are good. They had a little choir come out.
Oh, get it quiet.
The choir was singing.
It ain't going to be like them cruise ship.
No. And shout out to the Carnival Cruises, but yeah, no.
Yeah.
No. And shout out to Royal Caribbean, because Royal Caribbean has much better talent. My brother's been on Royal Caribbean for years. They have much better talent, but Carnival is, but it was like 10 singers and maybe like 2 of them was like, all right. I was like, okay, this is y'all doing the same.
It was
but
like
the rest,
High School Musical, middle school musical is what it was.
But
sorry.
But let's talk. We can talk off camera about that, because there's reasons why. You know what I mean? There's reasons why, and I ain't trying to bust nobody out on the podcast.
Get your dime.
But you know what? You feel me?
Yeah.
But so we went. Okay, so we went to Disney. Then we went to like a 3-day cruise to Nassau, Bahamas, which we've been to Nassau before, but I never got a chance to do the tour and like go up the Queen Stairs and do the whole thing. So I did that, and then after we got back from the cruise, we went to Miami for the last little part of the trip, which, you know, we enjoyed ourselves. We had an okay time. I mean, you know, my wife and I, when she gets back on the show, she'll share her from a traveler's perspective how she felt. But what we did was we went to go see The Color Purple. The day we got back on land, I'm gonna say it was like the 28th or the 29th. We got back, right? So we get back. I'm like, let's go see The Color Purple. So we go, and I'm a Color Purple baby, right? So I was born in February of 1986. The movie came out in December of 1985 and stayed out for like 5 months. So my mom said she wanted to go see the movie, and she told my dad, we going to see this movie, but we going to bring the baby. So they brought me in a little, you know, in my little car seat. And my mom said I was sitting up. I was, you know, I wasn't sitting up, but my little head was moving around, and I slept. Yeah, she said I slept, and I would wake up, and I didn't cry. She said she was able to watch the whole movie. She enjoyed the movie. So The Color Purple was like a part of my, and I think for a lot of us Black folks, it's a part of that original movie. My mom, every single time we get together as a family, Christmas, Thanksgiving, my mom is playing that movie in the background. So part of, I read the book as an adult, loved the book. For me, I wanted to see the remake because of the cast. I like who the cast, you know, I saw who the cast was: Fantasia, Danielle Brooks, Coleman Domingo, Taraji P. Henson. I wanted to see the cast, right? And so I went in with an open mind, because, you know, I'm not going to, obviously there are no spoilers because it's so old, but I'll just say to the folks, they're singing in it. It's a musical, right? What they were doing was remaking it's like a hybrid of the Broadway musical and the movie. It's not a remake of the movie, right? So it's like the book, the Broadway musical, and the movie all in one. And for me, I'll just say this and keep it moving. It was a beautiful experience, because the Color Purple is a very traumatic story. It's beautiful, but it is traumatic, and there's a lot of traumatic things that happen in it. Because of that, sometimes watching the original movie is a little, it messes with me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And this one with the singing and the dancing and the carrying on, as I say, it made it easier for me to digest that type of content. Do you get what I'm saying? Because they were breaking up the monotony.
Yeah.
They were singing and dancing. I'm like, okay, I can kind of take this, but it was beautiful. I'm gonna tell Chelsea's business and say she cried in the movie. She a couple times. She had some tears. I'm gonna recommend it. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. Shout out to Taraji P Henson, who has been, during this press run, just letting everybody know, hey, we're not getting paid. But she's not the only one who said it. Monique said it. Viola Davis has said it. Gabrielle Union has said it. It's been said. It's been said over and over again. And we know that Black people, Black women in general, are never paid what they're worth in America, at least. I can't speak for other places. But heart goes out to her. So I really like that. I also really like the Clark sisters. We know that. We've talked about that on this show. Love them, what they've contributed to gospel music. And so I just found out yesterday that they are going to be honored with it's like a merit-based, like an honorary Grammy, like it's called the Lifetime Achievement Grammy for their contributions to the music industry and the recording. And clear
on every level.
On every level. So I'm happy for them, and I'm happy that gospel music is getting its just due in the conversation of popular music. And we know that the Recording Academy ain't always been doing things the way people would have them do it, of course. But when they do it right, we gonna give credit where it's due. So that's what I really like. What about you, Wendy?
I was mentioning earlier that one of our professors, well, he wasn't my professor, but I was always hanging with somebody that did something else, like had a focus in guitar, vocals. So you know how we did. We made friends, we made family with the
of course
professors,
100%.
completely. And Julian Casper, he's a guitar professor at Berkeley, and he just released a new album that's amazing.
Ooh.
I've been following him since school, and it's cool to see the evolution of him, because some artists, you feel like they get comfortable doing something and then they just it's 2.0, and it never feels like it's gonna go to the next level. But
100%.
he is definitely, I can hear growth. It's so cool. It's so cool. And Matt Jensen is all over this album too, by the way, the new one that just
really
came out. Yeah,
okay,
killing it. What Matt tell us? I do more than reggae. So it's so good though. Yeah, definitely. It's on Bandcamp. So go over there and check that out. Check out Matt.
Yeah.
Like, it's some good stuff.
Okay, I'm down with that. I'm down. I'm gonna check it out.
And also, John Williams. John Williams came out of retirement, so he's finna start amping it up again. And I was mentioning to a friend, I'm like, yo, when old people say they're wanting to retire, that means they ready to like cash out. Like, it's
facts.
For him to be like, nah, I'm not. I'm like, yeah, man, you took your sabbatical. You deserved the rest that you got.
That's facts.
But come on back to us now.
So am I right? And did John Williams do the Harry Potter, the original Harry Potter?
That's his theme. Yeah, bum, bing, ding, 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 ding.
Okay.
Ding.
And you know what's crazy is they have the symphony. The Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra does Harry Potter. They bring the people who put that on, they bring it here to Milwaukee, and they're everywhere. They bring it everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I missed it. They
Oh,
came for Christmas, and
oh,
I have free tickets from when I won this award, and I completely I missed it. So
oh! I know
I'm gonna
you
have to.
hurting your heart.
I'm hurt. So, but I don't think my tickets expire for a while, so I might have to wait till next Christmas season. But they have them all over this Harry Potter. So they play the
Oh,
movie,
wow.
and then they play the movie, and then they play the score with the movie,
Okay,
and
that's awesome,
John Williams, I want to see it live and in color. I mean, he's the GOAT of
man.
scoring, right? So
He
I
really
want to
is.
see it.
Welcome back, John. We missed you.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome
That's my jam.
back. Well, it sounds like you liked some musical things this week, and I feel like that's what we're gonna get from you, because you are definitely a musical person, and I appreciate that. I feel like that's one of the things that I admire about you, is that you stay connected in such a beautiful and rich way to like different kinds of music and different mediums of music and different, like, but I'm just super pop culture. That's just, I've grown to accept that about myself.
That's what's up.
I felt like I think I was embarrassed about that for a while. Like,
Hmm.
I don't go to music school. I know all this shit about music, and I'm really just like a pop culture person. But I think that's okay. I think
That
that's
is
okay.
okay.
Yeah, I think that's okay for me to be, for that to be my like thing. But when I do, but good music, it don't matter whether it's pop culture or not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Good music is going to poke through.
Yeah.
Okay, it's gonna push the fuck through.
I think a lot of my stuff is because I was one thing when I was a kid. Up till I was 18, I was classical. Well, two things: classical and gospel, because I couldn't listen to anything else in the house. And so I kind of found what I needed to out of what I could listen to. And then
Mm.
when I got to college, just the floodgates of jazz, pop, hip hop, the whole thing came at me. So I to me, I'm still finding new nuggets in within every genre.
Ooh.
So I remember I always mention this, that when I first met Dave, we had ear training class together, and I'm walking in with my Sony CD,
Yeah.
skip free Sony
Yeah.
disc Walkman, and I'm like, I'm listening to "Come On Eileen," oh I swear. And I was like, have you heard this before? And Dave was like, what? What are you talking about? It's old. It's been out forever. Have I heard it before?
But
And
good
see,
music.
I was just introduced
But
to
you
that.
were just, no. It's crazy how good music, no matter when you're introduced to it, you go, oh, like
Yeah.
it's there's, you can tell timeless music. And have you ever gone back and listened to like even pop music of the 90s and 80s and 90s and stuff, and I'll go, like there's music that's timeless, and then there's music that's just kind of trendy and it's with the time.
Yeah.
But there is music that, like, no matter when we put it on, you're like, this is a great song. It's wonderful.
Facts.
They did that little 80s, they did an 80s review on the Carnival ship, and we had missed the beginning of it, but when we walked in, they were like, "Take on me." And I
That's
was
my
like,
jump. Take on me. That's
y'all
my
better
jam.
write this music, Phil. I was sitting there like, yes.
Yes.
But this is but if we go back and we look at the 80s, so many more people were writing music, and there was a lot of music coming out. But these songs, they're songs that, stood out.
Yeah. That stuck to the wall.
That stuck to the wall. That one song, I don't know if this is 80s or early 90s. Hey now, don't treat it.
That's the jam.
Oh my god! Yeah.
That's
Oh my
jam.
god! And when you
That's the jam.
when you look at the lyrics of the song, you go, hallelujah. They was talking about some things. Yeah.
Yeah. It meant
But
something.
you and I can do a whole, and this is why we're gonna have you back every month, because you and I could sit here and talk about music all day. But all right, well,
Okay.
I think we've got all the really likes, and now it's time for us to jump into what was a crazy week to listen. 2024 said I'm kicking the dough down. 2024 said I'm here. There was no like preparing. There was no we'll talk about it on hello. I'm here. We'll talk about it on the next segment. Oh yes. So let's jump into it. I mean, we're going to spend the most of our conversation on one Katt Williams because I let me tell you this. When we were on the break and we weren't recording, I was like, paying attention. I'm always on social media scrolling and paying attention. And I was like nothing seemed worthy to talk about. Mm. And then there was this week of just like one thing after another and also Katt Williams. And I was like, let's record this weekend. Like I have so much to say. Right. Yeah, and so I'm happy that, I'm being inspired again to discuss. So let's, get into it. Yeah. In the words of Doja Cat, get into it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So the Epstein list done got everybody, going crazy. So when Mr. Epstein, AKA Scum of the Earth, was caught. He was caught along with his Madam Head Honcho, I don't know how to say her name. Maxwell, whatever her name is. Whatever her name is. She was caught with him as well. And basically, what they say is she was helping him to get these girls. Yeah, she was organizing stuff. She was organizing, right. I could not watch the documentary because it's too much trauma going on in that. But basically what I hear is he would find young women that were vulnerable, families don't have money, poor, so on and so forth. And these are the women that he would traffic. And it was not women, it was young girls, as young as 12, 11 years old. Wow. And he became known as basically the guy who you would go to not only if you wanted prostitutes, but if you wanted children. So he that's why he was charged with what he was charged with, right? And so he killed himself in jail. There are many people who do not believe that he actually killed himself. They believe he was killed because him getting caught, now he's exposing everybody. So since that time that he's been, that he was caught and then, died, there have been talk on the internet of his flight logs. As I understand it, he owned a private plane. And if you were on that private plane, I guess these are people who people believe you were going to, I guess he owned an island. How much of this is true, folks? I don't know. But he owned an island where some of this, sex trafficking would take place. And I've seen on social media so many people talking about his flight logs, right? So who are the people who have used his plane and so on and so forth? Now, some of this is again, the internet is a wild place where anybody can make up and say anything. The way I understand it, rich people use each other's planes often. Like that's like a thing. It's like, it's like me being, it's like us, when we were in Boston, it's like, I let you use my car or whatever. It's like that, right? Rich people will just be like, hey man, my plane's out of commission. Can I use your plane today? So there's some of that, but then there's actually people who were using his plane to hurt children, right? Yeah. So the Epstein list and the flight logs, it's been talked about for years and years and years and years and years. And now, for whatever reason, I haven't done too much research on it, but what I do know is a couple days ago or a few days ago, the documents from the lady, Ghislaine Maxwell, the documents from her trial are now unsealed. And those documents contain a deposition and interview from a young lady who was trafficked. This young lady is just talking through her relationship with Epstein, her relationship with the what happened, how it went on. The judge dropped the bombshell and said, we're unsealing all of it. all of it's getting unsealed. Okay, so all these years later, she's like, we're unsealing all of it. So people were very in anticipation. There's an anticipation that people were in anticipation. And finally, the bombshell was dropped. And what's unfortunate is the blogs are taking it and running with it, and they're mentioning people who were not mentioned in a some of the people who are being mentioned are just being mentioned in passing. So for instance, the girl says, we went to this hotel. Naomi Campbell was having her birthday party there. So she mentions a name, but she's only referencing why they were there. She doesn't say we met Naomi Campbell. Naomi Campbell was da-da-da-da. They're just saying that. Michael Jackson is mentioned the same way. She mentioned something about, Epstein said that we were going to go see Michael Jackson, something like that. None of
And
it
they were
was
just like, Michael
yes.
Jackson.
I went onto the shade room, and the shade room posted when it was like, here are all the people who was mentioned. And I'm like, people don't read. So I read through it, and it was like, there's only 2 people who were mentioned in a way that was incriminating. And that is former President Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew, she talked about him a lot. I think she actually had relations with him. Obviously, that was paid for. She was trafficked to him. So she mentions him. She says that in a hearsay manner, Epstein told her that Bill Clinton likes his girls really young. And why would she lie? Why would she lie?
Yeah.
Why would she lie? Why would she lie?
Yeah.
Why? Why would she lie? We don't know who this girl is. I don't think her name. I think they've put her name out there. Again, it is documented the what this man has done to several young women and young girls. The fact that he was caught so late lets you know that there was people watching and letting him do this for a very long time. I don't feel no sympathy, empathy, or I don't feel nothing for people who hurt children, or hurt animals, or hurt older people, the elderly. I just don't. If you're hurting people who are, if you hurt anyone, of course I take issue with that. But what I'm talking about is people who are vulnerable. Yeah. And when you hurt those who are vulnerable, I just believe that I can't. I'm sorry. It's no way for me to. So Bill Clinton ain't never done nothing for me that I can sit here and say, "Who no,
not William." Yeah,
I believe her. I believe what she's saying.
I mean, let's look at the history. I mean, no disrespect, but or all the disrespect. Let's look at the history. It's not too far fetched.
So those are the only people. There's more documents coming. I hope y'all are making plans for your families, and getting your affairs in order.
That's what I thought, that the reason why Bill Gates got a divorce is because he knew what was coming. Like he knew what was coming down the pike. Like he didn't want his wife subjected to what he was fixing to face. Is what I always thought when he just up and got a divorce, because it was scuttlebutt around that time that he was an island goer.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, Billy.
Oh my God. And yeah, you know what I will say, as somebody who has paid attention to, because they have a foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, right? Mm-hmm. I think. And they've done a lot of great work in the world with that money. And his wife is extremely smart, and she's the one who runs that foundation. The way he has talked about her over the years, about his level of love and admiration, and how smart she is, and how he couldn't be where he is without her, and how he feels so in debt to her. She's such a great person. When they divorced, it didn't make sense to me. I just was like, you was just on a TV show talking about how amazing she is, and now you're divorcing. So that actually makes sense. I hope everybody's getting their affairs in order. This is 2024 is the year of exposure. So if you've been hurting children and hurting people in the background, it's coming. So God bless everybody. Gird your loins. Okay. Homeboy, his name is Deborah. That's what I found out this boy's name is. His name is Deborah. The judge, the judge said, listen, you going to jail. You have how many domestic violence? You're going to jail. And he went and jumped. I couldn't watch the video more than 2 times because I could see the fear. She moved just a second too late.
Yeah.
Had she moved a little, she didn't know what he was going to do.
Not in a million years. She didn't think that that's what was going.
But had she moved just a second earlier, she would have been able to run away. But she didn't react quick enough, and he got her. He definitely got her. Now, what happened? I think once he got her, they was on top of him, so they stopped whatever was going on. But she's going to have to live with that trauma for the rest of her life.
Oh, God.
She may not be able to return back to the bench. But what I do know is the young man, Deborah, now he has like 7 other charges on top of what everything else was. And the last thing, we're going to move on from this real quick. Anybody on social media saying that she should have washed her mouth, you're a domestic violence apologist, and I don't want to fucking hear it.
Who has said that?
There are people in the comments section saying, well, she shouldn't have been antagonizing him. And shout out to the Luncheon Lawyer. There's a young lady that I follow on Instagram. She's a lawyer and she analyzes these cases. She played the whole, because what we're seeing is a small clip, right? But what she played, she analyzed like 6 minutes worth of footage from when he's in the sentencing and you get a chance to speak. Now, what she was saying is also that like most lawyers will tell their clients, you shouldn't be speaking. Like, you let me speak on your behalf.
Yeah.
He decided he wanted to speak. And Wendy, this boy was saying, yeah, I have mental health problems. Anytime that I've had a domestic violence charge is because I don't know how to deal with my anger. And we went to mental health court. That didn't work. So there's mental health court. So they tried to help him. They tried to help him and get him resources to try to calm his anger. He still was getting the domestic violence charges. Mm-hmm. So she analyzes, like I said, shout out to the Luncheon Lawyer. I'm gonna link it in the thing. She analyzes the whole thing, and she said the reason why she wasn't antagonizing him, she was responding to what he was saying to her. Like, he said to her, I know what my criminal history looks like, but blah, 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 blah. So that's why she started talking about his criminal history. It wasn't like out of nowhere. She's just like attacking this man. Mm. So I said all that to say, Wendy, look, if you couldn't contain yourself with the person who is going to decide how long you're going to go to jail, and you didn't think to yourself for 1 second before you charged that stand, oh, maybe if I do this, I'm going to go to jail for even longer. You ain't got it all. You ain't wrapped too tight. What does the judge say? The judge says you're a couple of tacos short of a combination platter. Yo
pedo waga.
Yeah, but what's her name? I forgot what her name is. I can't remember
what her name is. I have to Google it.
She starts speaking to Spanish in a heartbeat. That judge, the people's judge. I forgot what her name is. But yeah, if you was gonna attack the judge, homeboy,
like, but it's evident that something is wrong with him from that.
And this is why we can't defend. We can't be apologists. It doesn't matter who it was, what was going on. He was going to attack her. Moving on. We don't have time. In 2024, we're not making excuses. We're not making excuses for people who do, like, when people do things that are wrong, let's go ahead and hold everybody accountable.
Yeah, period.
Speaking of accountable, your boy Jonathan Majors is going on ABC to tell his side of the story.
He is.
Oh, yes. You can expect an Oscar-worthy performance on that one. I'll be watching simply to see what he gonna be talking about, because I can't wait.
Ugh.
All right. We got a new segment coming to elevate the conversation, and it's called Comment of the Week.
Okay.
One of my favorite comedians and podcasters, Damona, Don't Call Me White Girl. We listen to her show. We love her. We might go. Actually, she's coming to. She's doing a show in Chicago. We might go see. But anyway, this girl did a whole video, basically saying that the only reason that Damona is famous or people like her is because she's light skinned, and that she's not really funny, and that it was very mean. I'll say this: it was very mean spirited. And so Damona's so funny, she reposted the video. And she reposted the video with the caption, "Thoughts." And so I was going through the comment section because I feel like the comment section is actually more entertaining than the content itself sometimes. Mm-hmm. Anyway, here was the comment, and this is what I want everybody to keep in their mind for 2024. We're going to use this as a mantra. The young lady's name is All Things Kira J. And hear what she said. Hating this early into the new year is insane. Like, dang, girl, we just got here. At least go try to accomplish some of your goals this year instead of being mad at other people's success. And I think that's a mic drop. In 2024, we're not talking about nobody else if we're not going and doing. Let's encourage everybody.
Do the work on you. God knows I got a list. Come on here.
We're not hating. We're not hating this year. Simply hating and saying, "Oh, this is why so and so is famous." And this, you know what I do? When I start to look at somebody else and I start thinking, "Dang, like they so on top of things, or they're so whatever." You know what I start trying to figure out? How did they get there? Not in a negative way. But in a way of
let me strategically be able to put myself in situations like that to elevate myself.
Let me study.
Yeah.
What's happening? Yeah. The energy that homegirl spent doing a negative video about Damona, she could have been doing a funny video of her own.
That's it.
That's all of it. That's it. Let's spend our time doing the right things. Yes. Okay? 2024, we knocking down the door and we not hating no more. Okay? we not hating no more. We not. We just not.
That's it.
But of course, that brings us to the crux of our conversation today.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. One Katt Williams had a 2-hour, I think it's 2 hours. Did you watch the whole thing? It's 2 hours is it 2 hours and 46 minutes?
I think it's a little under 30 minutes. I think it's like 2 hours and 28 minutes, something like that.
Okay.
But yeah.
So Katt Williams sat down with You okay?
My upstairs neighbors are. I'm tired of apartment life.
I feel that.
I'm just gonna say that. But I'm sorry. I thought I heard like singing and stuff, and it probably is. They got a dog up there and a baby and they don't get kicking until 8:00 in the nighttime, and go on up to midnight. I'm just like, I'm tired. I'm gonna get 3 jobs to get out this apartment.
I know. I feel that. Yeah, this is that year. This is the year I've had enough.
Listen, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. So the interview itself is 2 hours and something, and he's sitting there with Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe. The name of his podcast is Club Shay Shay, and I didn't realize that, Shannon has actually, he's interviewed a lot of people. So he had Kirk Franklin on there. He's had Steve Harvey on there. He's had some of the people mentioned that Katt called out.
Yeah.
He's had a lot of people on his show, and we already know his exposure now from the show. I mean, I think the video has, if we go look right now, I think it has something like, it had 17 million views yesterday when I saw it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's more, but there are people who I mean, I all over the internet, I'm seeing people talk about it. And
Yeah.
you know, I've wanted to kind of have a conversation about my relationship to comedy, so I felt like this was like a really good time.
Okay.
But before we jump into what I got from the interview, I want to hear from you. You know, what I think my phone. Hold on one second, Wendy.
Okay.
It spam. You know they like to spam likely me.
Yes. And my thing is, don't even let it come up on my phone. Just let it go away.
Okay, cool. I was gonna go hang out with my boys, but it's getting canceled. It's snowing here, and it's just terrible. It's terrible weather.
I'm in the wrong state for that.
Yeah, you ain't getting no damn snow. It's terrible weather. Ooh. It's terrible weather over here, and I was gonna go kick it with my boys, but it's good. So I'm gonna stay home. And
where's Nike? He sure is quiet.
He sure is, because he know I'm gonna beat him up if he should. Shut up.
Cisco's ass is out there. Man, I'm like, no. He spent all day with me yesterday. All day. Because I stayed in the bed all day.
Yeah.
And he spent all day with me yesterday. And he was ready to trot on back off in here when I was ready to go to sleep. I'm like, we just spent all day.
It's never enough for them.
You ain't tired of me yet?
It's never enough.
It's never.
It's yeah, I'm on a tilt. Let me hold on. There we go. I was like, what the hell? I'm on a little tilt. I was like, okay. So, sorry, my phone was ringing and there was a lot going on. Okay. So, 2 hours and 28 minutes, and Katt Williams he started off on fire. Okay.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, how are you? And I think he said his line was, you have an unnatural allegiance to losers, and that's not like you. And from there, the whole interview was that gun was ringing. So I want to know from you, you watched it. You watched the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
What stood out to you? What got you going? What did you believe? What didn't you believe? Like, let's just jump into it.
I believed a lot of what he said. I think I had to believe after I watched it and I started seeing the receipts starting to gather. I was just taking him on face value, because Katt's always been real, like, to me. I was talking to Dave about that last night, and like Katt, Patrice O'Neal, like, they were always real. They didn't sugarcoat. They don't sugarcoat anything. So I felt after I watched it, when the receipts were receipting, I'm like, he was talking about Steve stealing his jokes. Is his name Mark Curry? Is that
Mark
his
Curry
name?
Hanging with Mr. Cooper?
Hanging with Mr. Cooper, and then the jokes stolen from him, and they're just, people on TikTok are like side by side in the jokes, and he just straight up stealing stuff. Cedric the Entertainer's jokes that he stole. They're just, the receipts are receding, and you know,
and let me stop you right there, and I'm gonna let you continue, but let me stop you right there, and I want to say this, and I feel like, you know, they want us to believe, and when I say they, I'm talking about people in power, the government, those who are, you know, wealthy, the uber rich, the ultra rich, the wealthy, celebrities, people in power.
Yeah.
What they want us to believe, Wendy, is that we don't know the truth when we hear it.
Yeah. They hoping we don't know the truth when we hear it.
That's what they want. If you look at any, you know, and I'm sure you've seen these documentaries that, you know, chronicle cults, right? and cult leaders. And what these cult leaders do is what they make you do is question your own, how something feels to you.
Yeah.
It feels wrong, but they're telling you, oh, it feels wrong to you because that's your mind telling you that, you're in your own way, and I'm not going, I don't want nobody to catch strays today, but this is some of this happens in the church. They want you to reject your natural feelings. They're telling you that your natural way of thinking and feeling is wrong, right? So that when they tell you some bullshit, you don't question it.
Yeah.
Because you go, well, if this doesn't feel right to me, well, it's because, it's me. I need to work on it.
It's my fault.
It's my fault. And so the power structures that be want us to believe that when we hear the truth, there's no way of us knowing. But I feel like what we saw on the internet was a collective response to the truth. We heard truths told. Now, do I believe everything he said? I think he was balancing back and forth between kind of like dramatization and elaboration and jokes. I think he was balancing between that and his truth and, responding to things that were said. But what I want to really bring here is, everyone who's praising him, which is most people, I don't really see anybody saying anything negative about what he said. There's a few people, but for the most part, everybody is like, he's correct. And like you said, the receipts are receding, right? Like, we're in a day and age now where you can't just say something without somebody going and pulling up video footage, whatever the case may be. Social media makes it so that we can see these receipts in real time. And even Ice Cube came forward and was like, most of what he said was 100. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I feel like it was really nice to see somebody tell their truth. And listen, so many people have responded to him. Ludacris got in the studio and did a freestyle. I don't know if you saw that.
That was corny.
Ludacris responded to him. Kevin Hart responded to him a couple times. Faizon Love responded to him. A few people have responded, but nobody's response is hitting the same way as what he said.
Yeah, what the truth is.
Because the truth was, I believe that there were truths. If I have to give it, a percentage, I'm going to say 75-25. 75% of what he was saying was his truth, his experience. And I think we cannot police how somebody responds to being called out. Yeah. I understand that the media will poke and the media will ask you about other celebrities and ask you so that they can get clickbait, so that they can get, but you as a person of integrity, and we talk about this a lot on this show, the point, what you have to do is find a way to, I'm sorry, but we don't answer questions about other people. I'm sorry, we don't. And so what's making me sad is not just the receipts, the footage of what was said about him before this interview. And I feel like he's given everybody like 10 years of free reign to just talk shit about him. And this 2 hours was his response to everybody. You're not going to sit up and talk shit about me and say things about me and without me being able to defend myself. Yeah. And in that regard, I think we were watching anger, rage in real time. He's a genius, so he's able to harness it, right? Yeah. But I think, in terms of certain people who caught strays, because he spoke on Kim Kardashian, there's some people who caught some strays. Yeah. He said some things in there that even I was like, ooh, it hurts. Yeah. But we were watching anger and rage in real time. It's been 10 years of him watching people talk shit about him, not give him the respect he believes he deserves, and we just got to watch him do his big one. Now, he may never come out and say nothing else.
Actually, he don't have to.
He don't have to, though.
He really
But the last thing I'm going to say before I let you keep going is not just the receipts. So there's 3 types of receipts that came out. There's what people said about him before. I'm seeing so many videos, like they're putting videos out of people just kind of like unprovoked talking about him. Steve Harvey, Kevin Hart, There's other just footage going on of people just talking about him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what? Why was this? Right? So there's that. There's the receipts of the stolen jokes. So I'm seeing people side by side those videos. Those are the videos you're seeing. And then the last thing I'm seeing is threads and threads of people saying, when I was a broke comic, Katt Williams brought me up on stage. I did my show. I was only supposed to get paid $50. He put $3,000 in my hand. And there's 50, 60, 100, 150, 200 stories like this.
Yeah.
People on the internet saying he never told anybody this. I've never told anybody this, but I think right now is the time for me to come out and say he is who he says he is. He was good to me. He brought me on tour. He's helped my career. He's done all these different things.
He's definitely about to put other people on. And that's what he was saying. That I caught that when he said that about Tyler Perry. Like, like, put people on. He said, what did he say? He was like, anybody in a Tyler Perry movie can go to the mall and not need security. But you're supposed to be helping, and put people on. Put some people on. Let them. But that's that crab in a barrel type mentality. Like, don't nobody want to help nobody.
I didn't catch the Tyler Perry part, so I'm gonna have to go back. He was talking so much; it was a lot to catch. I mean, honestly, somebody needs to go and do an analysis, which people have done. But okay, I'm gonna look at the Tyler. You just dropped something on me. I'm like, the Tyler Perry. Okay, I gotta look at the Tyler Perry thing. Okay, what were your thoughts on? Like, is there anything he said that shocked you the most? Was there anything that was a bombshell for you, or were you sitting there like,
Not really, because I'm so jaded. It's nothing shocked me, nothing surprised me. Tell me something that's gonna surprise me is what. That's how I see it. I'm really trying to reach back.
You felt it all of it. You were like, and that's how you knew it was the truth, because it didn't move you. You was like, this tracks.
This adds up.
Well, I want to discuss this working theory that I have that I'm now ready to talk about, and I haven't discussed it on this podcast because, to be honest, I didn't know how I was going to talk about it, but this has brought this has done it. I am and have been a big fan of Dave Chappelle. I met Dave Chappelle.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yes. At the closing night of the Songs in the Key of Life tour in that might have been 2014, I think. I'm not, maybe going into 2015. I'm not sure. But he threw a party for the cast. He threw a party for all of us that were on the tour, and it was really nice. And he was there, and we got to kick it with him. And kind, nice person. I felt no energy being around him. So you can imagine my disappointment when I had seen his last special. Not the one that's out now, the one before this one.
Mm-hmm.
The one that was having people wanting to boycott Netflix and so on and so forth. And, I'm one of those people like, I'm going to just give it a chance because I love Dave so much. I was like, I'm going to give it a chance. And I watched it and I just was like, he's left. He's not, there's like, he's one of those guys to me when he does comedy and when he does things, I feel like he's always just like in the center of it. He knows where he's at. He's speaking on the culture. He's speaking on the people. And I watched that special and I really felt like my guy is leaving me. He's not the same. It didn't feel like the same anchored Dave Chappelle that I had heard before. And I really appreciated and supported, when he was like, I left the money, I turned the money down because I wasn't going to do, what was going on, right? Like, everything about his journey, it jives with me. And we just haven't been jiving these past 3-4 years. And I always had this suspicion. I'm like, something's going on. And nobody was able to ever, like, put it into words of like, I'm like, what's going on with Dave? He's better than this. Like, as a person in the LGBTQ community, it's not even so much about me being offended. Because I mean, there is some offense there, but there's also like, you're a better comedian than this.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is what you're doing. You're better than this. So there's this guy on Instagram who is a Harvard professor. His name is Sun Michel. He is a Harvard professor, a Black Harvard professor that teaches on Gullah. And he is like a language. He talks about language and AAVE and how we communicate. And he's a genius, right? So I've been following him for a very long time. And he posted this video that I'm going to play for you. He posted this video on his where is it? Right here? Nope, not that one. Here. Yep. He posted this video right here on his page of Katt Williams being interviewed by Joe Budden on the Joe Budden podcast. This is back in like 2021. Okay.
I love this guy, by the way. I love him.
Summer Show. Yeah, he's great.
On TikTok a lot.
He's amazing. Yeah. So let me share with you what Katt had to say when asked. He was basically being asked, how should comedians and people like yourself deal with cancel culture? Right. And this is what Katt Williams had to say.
Some of these things are for the benefit of everything. Nobody likes the speed limit, but it's necessary. Nobody likes the shoulder of the road, but it's there for a reason. My point is, people weren't all that extremely funny back when they could say whatever they wanted to say. At the end of the day, there's no cancel culture. Cancellation doesn't have its own culture. That was people of color. That was us policing our own culture. That was people without a voice being trashed by people just because they had a bigger name than them and more money than them and a better office than them. They could sweep them up under the rug like they didn't matter. I don't know what people we think got canceled that we wish we had back. I don't even know who are they. It's done for the reasons it's done for, and it helped who it helped. If all that's going to happen is we have to be more sensitive in the way that we talk, isn't that what we want anyway? I'm saying your job as a comedian is to please the most amount of people with your art. So if you want to offend somebody, nobody took those words away from you. Dirty bitch ain't been taken away. You can say that. But don't call somebody this word when you know this affects all of these people. Don't use the R word when you really mean people on the spectrum. Don't say this word instead of saying autistic. Don't say this word instead of saying little people. Look, if these are the confines that keep you from doing the craft God put you to, then it probably ain't for you.
Without judgment and repercussion from cancel culture.
If you ask all of the people that didn't make it to the NBA, if you ask them if we just lowered the goal down another foot, they all tell you they'd make it. Nobody likes the out of bounds, but the out of bounds gotta be there, or you'll run up in the stands, right? So some of these things are for the benefit of everything.
I just wanted to play the beginning for you because it started a little after.
And why isn't that common? Like, it's really not hard. It's really not a complicated notion to think that, you know, if something offends somebody, I don't know why people are so confused by it.
And so, as Oprah would say, and so, what I got from that was Katt Williams is actually who people say Dave Chappelle is. Katt Williams just told us it's your job as a comedian to find a way to be within the parameters of what's culturally acceptable and what makes sense. And that and still be funny within those parameters. And in this interview, he also talked about, I'm not going to make fun of a Black woman that I don't know, right? When I'm making fun or I'm having these making these jokes, it's with people that I know and have a relationship with, so it's going to hit different, right? Mm-hmm. And so what I heard him saying was, you can't just be on here making jokes and talking about groups of people that you don't even know. Dave, name me 10, 15 trans people you hung out with outside of that one friend you made that comedy special about. Name me 15, 20 people that you
that killed themselves. That killed themselves and probably killed themselves because of him.
Come on. That you've been around. Name me a few of them you've been around, Dave. You can't. Because you don't spend your time with these people, but yet and still now you've made 3 different specials talking about trans people in the LGBTQ community. It's not funny anymore. But let me also tell you this, Dave, even if you think you're making the joke and you understand it, but you don't want anybody to be harmful to the community, let me tell you what this comment reads, okay? I was on the internet, perusing, doing my thing, and here's a comment I read. I was hosting karaoke. This is from Party X Monster. They are a non-binary host. They host different shows and stuff like that. I believe this person is also does some drag queen things, like shows. Mm-hmm. And this is their comment. I was hosting karaoke a few weeks back, and there was a couple who just gone to see him earlier that night. So the couple had just gone to see Dave Chappelle earlier that night. And they literally harassed me all night thinking it was funny. He is so dangerous and pathetic. So what we want you to understand, Dave, is that you're putting a gun in the hand of people who really do hate gay people. That's all we want you to get. Dave, if you don't hear nothing else from me, I'm not calling you out. I'm calling you in. Listen to what your brother Katt said. You got to find a different way, sir. It's your job as this great comedian you are, and I don't think anybody can dispute that Dave Chappelle is probably one of the earth's greatest walking comedians. You're better than this. What you don't understand is that by you spending all this time making jokes, what to you are jokes about the community, the LGBTQ plus community, you're putting a gun in the hands of somebody who actually wants to go kill gay people, someone who actually wants to go hurt gay people, someone who actually wants to make up policies and laws stopping the community, the LGBTQ plus community from living and pursuing their life the way they want to. All we want you to understand is what your brother Katt said. I just want you to do a better job, sir. Do a better job of finding funny things that don't make one community vulnerable and susceptible to those who hate us using your words against us. Do you know how many people, when I'm in conversations with them, refer to me, my wife, and other people I know as the alphabet mafia or the alphabet people? You know who that comes from? Dave Chappelle. And Dave, I know that's not how you meant it. That's not how you meant it. Maybe it's not. I don't know if it's how you meant it. But what I do know is that people who look like you and me are using your words to alienate, harass, and in some cases, harm people like me. So I want to give my kudos to Katt Williams, because in all the things he was saying, what I heard most from him was, this video I just showed you, and he said it to Shannon Sharpe. Hey, as comedians, we got to find a way to be within the times. That's our job. If the R word is not acceptable anymore, we say something else. If this word is not acceptable anymore, we say something else. That's all we asking. Nobody is saying, oh, as a straight person, and I saw somebody say, gay people can say whatever they want. It's not true. It's just simply not true. And I'm going to leave that there. It's simply not true.
It's not.
So, Katt Williams, I thank you, sir.
He's the GOAT.
He's remained consistent.
Yep. That
video I just showed you is from 2021, I believe. Here we are, it's 2024. He said the same thing to Shannon Sharpe. I took a lot of things away from what he had to say, but he gave me the room to address Dave Chappelle. Last thing I want to say, let me get my video queued up. Let me ask you this. There's a long thought of idea that black men are asked to wear a dress, because Katt Williams, he addressed this, and I understand it in a different way than I did back then. But basically, that Hollywood wants to emasculate black men by making them wear a dress. What are your thoughts on this?
When you showed me just a little tiny bit of that clip a while ago, I was trying to remember. I was trying to think in my mind, like, to have white people done it as themselves, and I know Jack Lemmon, I think is his name, and Tony Curtis. They have a movie where they were dressed up as women. They were musicians, actually, dressed up as women. They did it in Australia. It was on me and my Hercules Legendary Adventures.
Yes,
you remember that?
I do.
That era.
I do remember that era.
F. Kevin Sorbo, but that's neither here nor there. But his sidekick Eolus, he had a thing where he dressed up as a woman and performed and stuff like that. That's some of their most treasured things, like that.
Really? Okay, I didn't know that.
That's a thing. And I remember seeing, I guess it was behind the scenes from the DVDs, that Kevin Sorbo was mad that he wasn't able to dress up and sing and as a woman. So it's in the UK too. That's a thing. So it happens.
I feel like our biggest example of it is Robin Williams and Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's it.
But even Mrs. Doubtfire, somebody's gonna maybe be mad at me, but I think that was tastefully done. I thought that it was tastefully done. I don't think that they were making a mockery. What they created, Mrs. Doubtfire, everybody loves that movie, but part of why you love it is because what he created with Mrs. Doubtfire was this woman who was like a loving, like, it didn't feel like a caricature of women. It felt like he had created a woman. He had created a woman who was an older, loving nanny. And outside of us knowing that was their dad who was dressed up that way, I remember watching that movie and feeling warm feelings. Like, I was like, Mrs. Doubtfire is such a good nanny. Like, I just remember that. I'm actually going to rewatch it soon.
And
but
she
can
cook.
And she could cook, and she was like so nice. Like, it didn't feel like it was a mockery. And so I'll bring it to this. A lot of times when I see black men dressed as black women, it feels like a mockery of black women. It doesn't feel like anybody's trying to actually
convey
a above board beautiful portrayal of high level black women in all, because we know right, we know how we feel about black women on this show. For me, there is nothing higher than a black woman, right? And so I don't ever see it being respectfully done. So anyway, me scrolling the internet, let me get this post up. A young man, his name is Christian Divine, he talked about this because Katt Williams brought it up, right? And he said, I'm not going to put on no dress. I'm just not going to do that. And for the first time, as a person who is non-binary, queer, I wasn't offended by that, because I was like, you know what? I just think about somebody trying to make me put on a dress. That would feel like death to me. Like, I don't wear dresses. I don't wear women's clothing. I don't wear makeup. So somebody trying to put me in a middle part bust down and a full face of makeup, I'm gonna be sitting there like this is gonna make me feel, it's gonna really mess with me, right?
Mhm.
And it's so funny because sometimes my wife will be like, hold my purse for a second, and then I'll joke around and I'll be like, oh yeah, like yeah, girl, and I'll like, hold the purse or whatever. But I'm making a joke,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
not me imitating my wife in a way of love and wow, she's such a beautiful woman. No, it's me making fun of the way that girls talk. My wife will be on the phone with her best friend, and I'll be in the background. I'll be like, period, sis. It's me making fun, right? It's me
Yeah.
making a joke about how they are with each other, right? Even
Mhm.
with all the respect that I have. So anyway, this gentleman, Christian Divine, shout out to him. He really this is the first time that I've seen it like this. So let's take a just let's listen to what he got to say, because I was listening to it and I was like, oh my god, I was like, I love smart people, and he definitely he said some smart shit. Okay, I'm playing it right now.
So I have a hot take about black male comedians and dresses. If you're black, you've probably come across this theory that Hollywood has a plan to emasculate black men by requiring them to all wear a dress on screen. People like Dave Chappelle have said this, and one of my favorite comedians, Katt Williams, has also said this recently in his Club Shay Shay interview. Now, I do not believe that there's a Hollywood effort to emasculate the black man. Neither do I believe that a black man in a dress is like emasculating or a plot. However, I do think that the popularity of these characters has to do with racism. To understand this, you need to understand the archetypes for black women in American media, which are the mammy, the Jezebel, and the Sapphire. The mammy archetype is one that portrayed bigger black women as these maternal figures for white people who actually did not mind being in slavery because they loved their white families and loved taking care of them so much. The characters used to create this revisionist history of slavery in which mammies loved taking care of those white children so much that they didn't mind it because that in itself was fulfilling. Even when not portrayed in literal slavery, you often see white America clinging to this archetype as a way to feel better about racial and class inequality. Jezebel archetype is one that presents black women as insatiable sexual creatures, and it's presented typically in two flavors. One being called the pathetic other, which portrays them as unappealing and insatiable, and the exotic other as something that you've never had before, something distant and sexual. I'm actually reminded of the Theo Von podcast clip where he's like, I don't think I have enough for black women. I like them, but I don't think I can satisfy them in bed. You know what I mean? A lot of this originating in race science from slavery era. In fact, it was not possible to legally sexually assault a black woman if you were a white man because they were viewed as wanting sex all the time. The Sapphire actually directly gets its name from a character within Amos and Andy. Amos and Andy was originally a blackface radio show that started in the 20s, which became a television program in the 1950s starring black actors. In the show, there was the character Sapphire Stevens, who was very mean, sassy, and would berate her husband for being incompetent. And the Sapphire archetype is specifically that, the angry black woman, the one who's always mean and rude and always has to fight. And just a quick aside, something that I find interesting is that there's a theory that the reason why Kamala Harris is always laughing so much in public, even in moments that don't necessarily seem appropriate, is to avoid being
Quick
characterized.
pause. Michelle Obama had to change. If Michelle Obama, while her husband was campaigning for president the first time, she had to change her basically her personality around to not be so serious, because people were saying she was coming off as angry black woman. But let him go ahead.
As the Sapphire, I don't know how much merit there is to it, but I always think about this whenever I see her on any press runs. All of this to say is that I think that these black women portrayed by black men fall super heavily into these archetypes and are one of the last standing bastions where people feel comfortable watching those archetypes because they are portrayed in such an absurd way, but nevertheless are still these archetypes. While I don't believe there to be any grand conspiracy to emasculate black men, I do not like these characters. I don't think they exist to emasculate black men, but I do think they exist to insult black women and just to insult black people as a whole. To me, it will always feel like American media's way of holding on to relics from the minstrel show era, a way to portray black people in a way that is comfortable and patronizing, but not always obvious enough to get called out. Yeah, so thanks for watching that video. If you liked it, follow me here, follow me on Insta. And side note, free Palestine. All the videos that I've been making about it get really buried or don't get views at all. So I've been reposting a bunch of stuff rather than posting things because they just don't seem to really get over 1,000 views for some reason. But that's still happening.
Wow.
So.
Shout out to the Chopin that's playing underneath that. Beautiful.
Facts on that. Facts on that. Great musical choice.
I mean, what can you say? Honestly, I don't know how we made it this far, God. I really don't. I'm tired. My daddy loved him some Amos and Andy. I remember he was like, "Can you order me some Amos and Andy?" I ordered him some DVDs.
Did you get it on Amazon? It was on Amazon?
Long time ago. It's been a while. It's been a good 10 plus years. But I was like, "Daddy, come on, Daddy." He was like, no, now. I was like, old black going old black.
Ain't nothing we can tell him. Let him have his Amos and Andy.
He got it. Oh my God. And see, that shed different light on the situation. I'm tired.
You know, it hurts.
Yeah.
Because I had never thought of it that way. I had never thought that Black men dressing up as women, which, by the way, I've never really found all that funny. I thought maybe it's at the highest level, it's homophobic and it's transphobic, right? It's like you're trying to make fun of people who might feel that they are, you know, in a different body, right? Like there's a whole movie called Joanna Man about a guy who joins a women's basketball team.
But he's done really good.
He
really has done good.
Yes. You should see him. With his little...
What are you barking at?
I think there's a dog barking outside. Come on, Tata.
Okay.
Lay down, Papa. It's okay, Papa. You should see how he's looking at me. He's concerned.
He's like, I just don't want that dog to come up in here and hurt you. I got to let it know that I'm patrolling.
This how he be sometimes when I'm in meetings, and I'll be like, Nike.
You gonna hear Cisco because I heard him. He was meowing outside. He wants to know why the door's closed.
I need to buy me that Elmo guitar. I'm gonna buy that for the podcast. That Elmo guitar by like, dang. Okay. It's so funny because people are still like commenting on that video. It's funny. That got a lot of like people really they're like, this is hilarious. Okay. Nike, you done? Come lay down, Papa. Come lay down, Papa. It's gonna be me and him this whole weekend. So it hurts. When I watch that video, it hurts me because I never thought of it in a way of like, you're making fun of Black women.
I didn't either.
There are some new influencers, I'm not going to say any names here, who are using that. You know, they're dressing as women and they're making jokes. And people keep saying, oh, they're doing that because they're gay, or they're doing it because they're trans. No, they're doing it because they're making fun of Black women, and it gets a laugh.
Yeah.
And so I almost think it's like it's the low hanging fruit. And no matter what you say out of your mouth, you know, Tyler Perry included, about loving Black women, what we have to be real about is Medea and other characters, Shanae, you know, all of them. They are a reflection of stereotypes of Black women. They are not, you know, our sisters are much more dynamic and rich. they're you know, the characters that I come in contact every day the Black women who are in my life, you know, these characters are not that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it gets a laugh. And I think that I don't know that Hollywood is pressuring these Black men to put dresses on as much as these men know this is going to be funny. I get a real laugh when I do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that video is the first time that I've had to kind of, you know, you don't always have to center yourself. I'm speaking about myself. Let me start over. I think that sometimes we feel the need to center ourselves in the narrative or center our voices in the conversation of what's going on. So as a queer person who is non-binary, sometimes it's easy for me to say, oh, it's because they're homophobic. Oh, it's because they're transphobic. But there's further analysis that needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And this young man did that further analysis, which is there is an underlying current of racism. So just plain out, flat out racism that is seeking for these Black men to do a minstrel show for us all over again. And I don't know if I maybe knew that intrinsically, because I never thought it was funny. I think the funniest portrayal, Shanae. Shanae makes me laugh.
Yeah,
Martin in general, I love Martin.
Me too.
Medea makes me laugh a lot as well, right? Those are the two that I can say that I really I have enjoyed, but I never liked Big Mama's House. There's, you know, white chicks I never liked. I never liked. There's a whole ton of, you know, there's a list of these you know, Black men being women, and I never enjoyed it. But I will say I have absolutely enjoyed Medea, and I have absolutely enjoyed Shanae from Martin.
Same.
And that undercurrent of racism, you know, being there, I didn't realize that it was there. And I was centering, oh, well, they're doing it because they're transphobic. Like, they want to make fun of people who are, but Katt Williams kind of brought it to my, Katt Williams helped me understand it, because he was basically just like, I don't want to put on a dress, and neither do I. So I totally got that. Like, I was like, okay, it's not that you don't like gay people. It's not that you try transphobic one, but when they're asking you to put on a dress, you're like, why the fuck should I would? And I know me being a person in media, if you ask Joy Daniels to put on a dress, I'm going to be like, why the fuck would you ask me to put on a dress?
Yeah.
Right. And so Katt Williams helped me understand it. And this young man further clarify for me, oh, the men feel that they're being emasculated because that's what it is to them.
Mm-hmm.
But the real deal is Hollywood is racist, period.
I know, like, a lot of people are like, well, why has it always got to be about race? Well, because it is. The black and the white of it, because it is. The end. That's what the answer is.
You got to be pulled back. Okay? In the dipper. So men will see your great works and glorify God Jehovah. That's what the answer is. But you're right, Wendy. They don't want us to call it a black and white thing, and that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't think we should be doing is saying that the men who have decided to participate in this, I don't think we should demonize them. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
Like, they've done it because of whatever they thought. They felt comfortable enough in their sexuality. You know, that's what I'm going to chuck it up to. They felt comfortable enough in their sexuality to do it. And furthermore, they saw no problem in making fun of black women. Now that, I can call you to the carpet on, but I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, we should be mad at Martin for, listen, again, I laughed at Shanae. Shanae was funny to me, right? Yeah. But these are conversations we need to be having. Yeah. Because I think what Katt Williams proves to me, just like I was saying in my previous comments about Dave Chappelle, I think he proves to me that it's able to be done without the racism. It's he's able to be funny without the racism, without the misogyny, without the homophobia, without the transphobia. You can take all of those things out and you still have a funny person.
Yeah.
And so for that, Katt Williams, we say thank you.
Katt, he's the guy.
We're going to give you your flowers today, sir. And if he don't come out for another 10 years and say nothing else, I think he kicked down the door of 2024 for us. And I mean, people are doing stupid things now, trying to compare his net worth to Steve Harvey's net worth.
But he said in that interview, he's like, don't look at my net worth. Don't look at my net worth.
He said sometimes that's the money I got on me. That's what he said.
Yeah.
But what I will say is he does have Netflix specials, and
he's in some movies.
I mean, Netflix alone, I think they offered Dave Chappelle. I think the number that I heard for Dave Chappelle's specials was like 100 mil for like 2 or 3 specials or something like that.
That's a lot.
So
of money.
it's not hard for me to believe that somebody like Katt Williams is in the double digits. You know, even if he hasn't been famous for that, like there's people who just love him. So that's good for the platform. It's hard for me to believe that he's any. They ain't offering him no $1 million a special. Let's. You
don't think they're giving him no million?
No, I'm saying $1 million's too low. I think they're giving him
more. Well, what did he say? How many figures?
He said it's double. He said he's in the 7 figures.
Oh, okay.
So that's double digit millions, right? So I would say at the minimum he's getting 20 to 30 every special. That's just me. I'm just thinking of if you gave Dave Chappelle 100. Yeah. Like, it's Katt Williams. Like you kind of can't. Yeah. I never really believe he getting his money. There's no way. I mean, he's getting his money. So I'm happy that he got his flowers while he was yet alive. Yet. We want to give the flowers while they're alive. Yes. I'm praying for everyone, for everybody that he attacked. I'm praying for you. Well, not attacked. Let me not use that word, but for everyone that he spoke on, I'm praying for you. I think in some cases, like Steve Harvey, it's best to just not respond. That's just me. I think it's just best you don't respond because people are responding.
Actually, what can you like? If the receipts are there, how can you respond unless you give an apology? And ain't no. I almost said a word. Ain't no gonna apologize. So,
yeah,
we ain't living in those eras.
No, you're right. You're right. I think it's just best, like from a PR standpoint, like, bro, just chuck it up to just it is what it is. Like, just it is what it is.
No, you know what they gonna do? They gonna have a king of comedy, him, Cedric the Entertainer, and Ricky Smiley, and they gonna be out here acting a fool, making fun of Katt. That's what's in the works.
Well,
watch.
That would track. That's what Chris Rock did after he got smacked.
Oh,
he did a comedy special. He did a comedy
funny.
special.
Are you familiar with Tony Baker?
I love Tony Baker.
Tony Baker is the man. He wrote something on Instagram the other day, and he was asking. I don't know if he felt some kind of way about Katt calling out other Black comedians, but he asked, are there white comedians that call out other white comedians? That was his question. So with that being his question, I was wondering, well, is he feeling some kind of way because a Black comedian called out a bunch of Black comedians? Like, why are we doing this? I don't want to read nothing into it that he ain't said specifically, but other white people were commenting, talking about, oh yeah, CK, Louis CK, and I want to say maybe Dane Cook or something. They always at each other's throats and for stealing material and stuff. Like, it exists. I just wonder where that question came from. Why did he have that question? Because I kind of felt like, are we not able to police our own? Like, was he not supposed to say anything? Just like,
You know, Wendy, you're bringing something up that I had thought about this, because there were other people who said, I love Tony, you know, Tony, we respect Tony.
absolutely.
But there are other people who explicitly said they thought that Katt Williams should have addressed these things behind closed doors. And let me tell you what I think about this.
That's what's wrong with us now.
If the disrespect happened in public, then I'm not gonna address it privately.
And
I'm going to address it publicly. You know, I will never forget, you know, my mom listens to this podcast. Shout out to my mom.
Hey, mama.
When I was young, we had a keyboard organ player, Al. And Al was a young guy. He was like 18, 19. He was a young guy. And he played, he could play, he still can. He can play that organ, okay?
Nice.
And Al, my mom used to sing praise and worship.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he messed up or something happened. And my mom said something to him on the mic. Now, I'm a kid, right? I don't remember what was said, but she said something to him on the mic. And I distinctly remember the following Sunday, my mom apologized to him on the mic.
Mm-hmm.
And what she said, I'll never forget this. What she said in her apology was, Al, the disrespect was in public, so I'm going to apologize in public. And I can humble myself and apologize to you in front of everybody because of what was said in front of everybody. Now, when we get off this podcast, I'm going to call my mom and ask her what the full story is. I don't remember, but I distinctly remember her apologizing on the mic in front of the church to him.
That's refreshing.
And that has been a lesson my whole life, that if you disrespect in public, you should apologize in public. So if you call me out in public, I have every right to respond in public. Because, and I've heard this from other celebrities where someone will say something publicly and then you call them out on it in private. In private, you call them like, hey man, you said whatever. And they'll apologize to you, but then still go out in public and defend what they said originally. Yeah. So how can I trust when you're in the public telling them Joy sucks, Joy don't know what Joy talking about, whatever, but then you in the background talking to me going, you know? Yeah. And I understand, again, there was rage. I don't know what you expect. The man sat back and watched people talk about him for all of, you know, these years. And guess what? There's rage in that. And so some people caught strays. He played with my baby, Nicole Murphy. Don't ever talk about Nicole Murphy because she is so fine. Don't ever speak on her.
Who's Nicole? Is that Eddie Murphy's ex-wife?
Eddie Murphy's ex-wife. He said
she's pretty.
Katt made a, you know, he said weird face. He said the conversation about the weird. He said
he did. They all are light skinned.
They all have light skinned, weird face wives that you've never seen in public, and so there's like, there's something going on, you know, around that showing that all these men do have light skinned wives, but you're not gonna play with my baby Nicole.
And you know that when he said what he said about Jonathan Majors, about the white woman,
yeah,
scared of white women. Shannon Sharpe's wife is white. Yeah.
Is Shannon Sharpe married?
He married to a white woman. Uh-huh.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang. Okay, I gotta check on that. But yeah, there is a picture of Shannon Sharpe with some white women floating around.
And some dogs.
And some dogs. Yes, I did see that. Yeah, I mean, he really, that's what I'm saying, rage. That's what rage looked like. He was coming for, I mean.
But it was calm. It wasn't. It was a calm to it.
It was
like
a calm
he was just
rage,
rubbing
yes.
his legs. It was a,
Yes.
he
had
it
been
was
waiting.
strategic.
He had been waiting. Like I said,
Yeah.
when he opened up that interview and said, "You have an unnatural allegiance to losers, and that's not like you," I knew that we were going to be in for a roller coaster right then.
I wish they had been rolling for the time he walked in, because Shannon Sharpe said that there's 30 minutes. He started 30 minutes before. So there's a part of that conversation that we'll never see because the cameras weren't rolling. Yeah. Which makes me think, dang, what was he saying then? What was he saying in the first 30? So what? That would have been 3 hours. That would have been 3 hours. What did he say before they started rolling? I guess they won't do that no more.
Yeah,
like save it.
No, yeah, exactly. And you know, now that we've done this a couple times together, it's like we start to talk, and there's good things we say to each other before you press record, and you can't capture that again, right?
Save it.
So yeah, I mean, well, what we do know is this: we're gonna call it the Katt Williams effect, because what they were drinking is Shannon Sharpe's alcohol.
His cognac. Mm-hmm.
It's sold out. Because
Sharpe need to be, thank you.
Katt said while he was drinking it, he was like, "It has a great finish and it tastes wonderful." He was like, "This is a wonderful, this is great.
Don't taste like wood.
Doesn't taste like wood." So that is sold out. Club Shay now, the video was at 17 million when I saw it. Let's update.
Check it.
Let's check it. 23 million. So
wow.
23 million in 3 days. So that's 10 million pretty much a day, or it'll and change. Club Shay Shay is going to now, I mean, it's going to skyrocket at this point. I always liked Shannon Sharpe's interviews in the first place, because Shannon Sharpe he is a football player, but he is somebody who has been working in media for the past 10 years.
Yeah,
he's trained. Right. Yeah. And so we know that there's a difference between a journalism and a media personality. But when you've been a media personality for a certain amount of time, you come to these interviews prepared. Yeah. One thing I will say about Uncle Shannon, he had his notes together. He asked great questions about him growing up, the things that he's done. He really asked great questions. And I think that that's why it's so long, because Katt wanted to take him through the river and the seas. He wanted to go to the scenic route, but Shannon was
trying to reel it in.
He was trying to reel it in, and he was also doing his due diligence and asking questions about his childhood, about when he came into comedy, about all these things. And honestly, every single interview I watch with Shannon Sharpe, he's always prepared. He has his cards. And that's because he's media trained. So what I will say is, I'm happy that this happened on a show with someone who is somewhat media trained. Yeah. If this was other people, Katt Williams could have taken them on a ride, but because he did take Shannon on a ride. But did you see, I don't know if you peeped, but once, like, there was something that Katt was saying about Kings of Comedy, which we know Kings of Comedy was during the 90s, but he said 2018 instead of 1998. Yeah. And somebody on Shay's staff was like, sorry to cut you off.
What you meant.
Exactly. And so there is a attention to credibility. We want to be credible with the things we're saying. Yeah. It's just like when me and you get on here, the 2 times we've been on here, if we don't know something, we're like, let's go to Google real quick. Yeah. We want to make sure that we're, and so let me tell you something, Wendy, with all of this bullshit that's going on the social medias where people don't, they just say whatever, and there's a lot. I appreciated that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what though? I knew that. I knew that's what he meant to say, because Kings of Comedy came out a long time ago. I knew that, and I was like, nah, that he meant what that. But not everybody ain't everybody as old as I am and would remember when that came out. So kudos to them for fixing that. That
100%. And that lets you know not only is Shannon on his shit, but he's got
people
staff.
That are on there.
He's got people. So I want to give him his flowers too. We're going to give Unc his flowers because it takes a very special, like, these interviews are very hard to conduct sometimes because people come in with what they want to say, right? Not every interview is going to be like that, but people come in with, okay, I got a story to tell. So they, you know, either they're running the interview or you are. And I appreciate Shannon for, you know, even though Katt was going where he was going, you know, he kept it on the rails, and we got some really good information about who Katt Williams is, where he comes from. And I saw somebody, honestly, what I saw from him was somebody who's going through a lot of trauma. Yeah. Who, despite the trauma, has still made a good life for himself. Despite his challenges and the things that he's gone through, he has stayed true to himself. He stayed true to his craft. And win, lose, whatever, whether he's had issues with with law enforcement, whether he's had problems with his kids, whatever the case may be, he has stayed true to himself, and he stayed true to the craft, and he's kept us out of his business. I can't even find his kids. I looked up his kids on I can't find his kids.
That probably has a lot to do with, you know, don't nobody want to. It's probably easier to protect adopted children because, you know, you don't. It's probably, I would imagine that it would be easier to protect them than a regular kid. I'm not saying that adopted children are not regular children, but it's probably easier to, you know, protect them because they've been through a lot already.
So you don't want no more trauma on them. That's facts.
I could see that being the case. Him helping that lady with the Hollywood star. Melba.
I had heard that.
I didn't know about that until
I think
he
paid for it. I heard he had paid
for her star. So he out here doing the community's work. Listen, and in front and behind the mic. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And also I loved part of what he said was, it's not for me to get the glory. I don't tell people when I do good things. I just do them. And that's a lesson to all of us. Everybody want to put somebody's camera in their face when they want to do something good. And some of it is okay. You know, there are certain Instagram accounts where, you know, they help people out. They help homeless people. They give people money. And I'll be looking and I'll be like, okay, I feel this. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but absolutely. Sometimes it's like, are y'all doing it for the attention or to help the person? Like what's happening? So, I mean, I have nothing but good things to say about Katt. Obviously, like I said, there were some things in the interview that was like, all right, you being yourself. You know, you talk about Kim Kardashian. You know, you just I ain't like that he called her a whore, but I get what he's saying. Yeah. But I you know, I get it. He was talking his shit. That was his moment, and we love him. I mean, I don't think there's anything left to say, but we love him, and I appreciated what he brought to us. And, you know, for all of the, for the listeners, for all of my little references and the folks that I talked about in this, I will put it in the description of this episode so that you can go and look up these things for yourself. Let us know how you feel. You know, send me an email. We got the email in the description. Send me an email. Let me know how you feel about what Katt Williams had to say. And, send us some listener letters. I think me and Wendy, maybe next episode when we talk about Milli Vanilli, we'll go. I want to go over some listener letters. I want to know what y'all be thinking, what y'all be talking about, what's going on with y'all. So send it in. Know it true. I love you. Those poor guys. So, I should have known. You know what? 5 minutes, Wendy, 5 minutes into I was like watching it. I was like excited. 5 minutes into it, I'm like, oh, racism. Like I just knew.
Imagine that.
I just knew. Like you should have seen how my excitement went to just like. So
everybody's always it's different across the pond. No, that's where it originated from. So no, it's not different.
It's not different. Okay. But guys, we're going to give you all some homework if you want to. You know, enjoy a bonus episode. Wendy and I are going to do a bonus episode, and we're going to talk about the Milli Vanilli documentary. And so watch it so that you can be in the conversation with us. All right. I think this was good.
Yep. Great times.
I feel great times were had by all, and I think we really powwowed about some shit. I will see all of you listeners on the next segment. Peace.